just don't know. Oh, hi, everybody. Okay. Today we are talking about Kinemon. Yes, that Kinemon. Foxfire Kinemon's Devil Fruit ability. The one that makes clothing. Doesn't have a lot of battle capabilities, I'll give you that. But its fashion capabilities are off the charts. So I gotta figure out something to wear that's really insane. Let's do a fashion montage. Do you want to do a fashion montage? I've always wanted to do a fashion montage. Cue the music! Let's do Guile's theme. That goes with everything. Let's go. Yep, I think I found the right outfit. I think I'm gonna rock this one today. Presenting Joker from the hit video game, Super Smash Brothers. Yeah, that's what he's from. Okay. So, we're just gonna slide right into Kinemon's Devil Fruit discussion. Alright, so, look. He has the ability to give clothing to people. Not just clothing, like all aspects of clothing. He can make jackets, which kind of supersedes onto the jacket fruits territory, but whatever, we'll leave it at that. He can make pants, he can make socks, he can make underwear, he can make shoes, he can even make accessories. He gave Chopper a damn sword. We're gonna get back to that in a moment. He can make armor, he can do a bunch of stuff. But yeah, I get it. There's so many other crazy Devil Fruit abilities in the story. Kinemon's, when it was revealed, I mean, his ability was revealed sandwiched between two Logias. We had the Gas Fruit, then Kinemon's ability to make clothing, and then we had Monet's Fuku-Fuku No Mi, the Snow Fruit, which we're going to be covering next time. So his, maybe a little bit lackluster, but let me ask you something seriously. Would you not love to have Kinemon's ability, the clothing fruit, or the Garb-Garb fruit, in the real world? It would be incredible. It would be so useful. You could literally wear whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted, at just the drop of a hat. All you got to do is put a leaf or a rock or really any object whatsoever. It probably works with anything. I have a pen here. You just put a pen on top of your head and just like, clothing jutsu and just boom. Dressed for the office, perfect fit, no fuss, no muss, perfect clothing fitted for your body. Off you go. All you got to do is make sure that the clothing doesn't, you don't take it off at some point because then it will disappear. But it doesn't really even matter because if you're the user of the fruit and, like let's say you're at work and some coffee gets spilled on your shirt. It's like, oh no, coffee. Just go into the bathroom and then just take off one shirt, put on the thing again and just like, again, boom, clean shirt. So if nothing, that actually is not even a weakness at that point, right? There you go. Let's say after work you want to go for a hike and he's like, oh man, I need hiking shoes. Hiking shoes are expensive. Just, here we go. That's a thing. I actually went back to see if he could make shoes, because I wanted to see all the facets of this. The children at Punk Hazard, when they were running out of the laboratory into the tundra, the Straw Hats were like, maybe this isn't a great idea, because the children had like no shoes, no socks, nothing, and they were running in basically the Arctic. And so Kinemon was like, well, Kinemon's head at the time was like, all right, yeah, put a rock on your top of your head and then I'll use my clothing jutsu and I'll give you all clothing. They even specifically mentioned, wow, he even created shoes. So like, you never have to buy clothing again. And it doesn't even have to be clothing that is in the store. Have you ever been like reading a manga or watching a movie and just like, man, I really like that shirt, but it doesn't exist in real life? That's actually something Kubo, the mangaka of Bleach, brought up a lot of times. Like a lot of times I'll be reading Bleach and Ichigo's clothing is always really cool. And Kubo mentioned, like, I draw the clothing on Ichigo that I would like to be able to buy in the store but doesn't exist, right? But with this ability, it doesn't matter. Like, you could just be watching something like a show and being like, hey, I really like that outfit that Invincible is wearing. I'm going to just, cool outfit. And that just brings us to a whole new level of this. Cosplay. This might as well be the cosplay no mi. Dude, Making your own costumes, I've never done it myself other than just like scrap build, throw stuff together last minute. I've never made my own costumes. I have a tremendous amount of respect to everybody out there, every cosplayer that has a sewing machine and a whole dedicated room to just make cosplay, because it's wild. When we were visiting out in Los Angeles a few years ago, I was at Anime Expo with the One Piece D&D crew. We went over to Roger Base's and Reagan's apartment, and Reagan was showing me the room where she makes all of her cosplay stuff, and it's just like, oh my god, there's like so much stuff back here, right? And it was insane. But imagine this ability. You just, there you go, and then boom, perfect outfit. You want to be Mercy from Overwatch? Just like, I guess, look at a picture of Mercy and then clothing jutsu. Perfect outfit, perfectly suited for you. The second you take it off, it disappears, so I guess make sure to get some good photo sessions in, I suppose. But beyond that, you're good, and you could just keep, you're just like, oh, okay, I took off the outfit, it disappeared. All right, I'll just put on another leaf and, do it again and summon it again. And you could just do that infinite times, apparently. There's no downside there. When Sanji was in Nami's body and had to go under the water to rescue Kinemon's torso. Remember that scene where the torso got eaten by the shark? So Sanji had to take off, the jacket, and it disappeared, and then dived under the water and came back up, and just like, okay, well, just make me another jacket, and Kinemon was able to do that, right? So that is a weakness, and depending on if you're not the user of the fruit, or if the user gives you clothing and then wanders off somewhere else and you lose the clothing, you might be screwed at that point if you're in somewhere that's like really, really cold climate. But if you're the user of the fruit, you're set, you're solid. I guess there is another downside, and it's that you need to have something to put on your head. But from what I've already explained, it can literally be anything. Kinemon traditionally uses leaves when he's in Wano, but since they were at Punk Hazard, there was no trees or plant life around in the Arctic, so they just you use rocks, but I'm sure, like I said, any object would probably work as just like a conduit for it. He also has his only named technique, Kinemon's Clothing Company. He uses this right before the raid at Onigashima, where he establishes basically like a gate, like an archway over a bridge, and then every one of the members of the, the Mink and Samurai and Ninja Alliance were passing through, and they were turning into, like they had disguises of Kaido's crew, right? And those disguises, by the way, they had the feathered boas, they were making metal belts with buckles, the jackets have metal buttons on them, so he's able to make metal to an extent. Anything that falls under the purview of clothing, which is quite a bit of stuff. Even armor. I was thinking, well, maybe Kinemon can't make armor. Maybe there's an armor devil fruit that's like the upgraded version of this. Honestly, I think this is the upgraded version of the jacket fruit. The jacket fruit operates very, very differently, so not really. But yeah, it basically is, right? So we see this. He's able to generate armor for Chopper and Usopp. We see them wearing the armor here. Once again, the same weaknesses, but the armor and the clothing is functional, right? Like when he generates jackets to keep everybody warm, it's not like the jackets are just for show or they're made of really flimsy material or something like that. No, they actually do what jackets are supposed to do and keep you nice and toasty and cozy, right? And so I imagine the armor is the same way. The armor is made out of metal. Now, is it some crazy super durable metal? Probably not. I don't think he could use this ability to be like, I want, Kinemon, can you generate me sea prism stone armor? Or can you generate me iron armor or super, rare titanium vibranium armor, please? I want to dress like Captain America, but I want to have the shield perfectly replicated. I'm assuming he couldn't do stuff like that. And also, it's the idea, you couldn't make the material to sell it, because it's he could probably make jewelry, various accessories. I'm pretty sure we've seen with jewelry and stuff. Actually, when he created Brook's outfit at Wano, Brook had the spooky ghost outfit with the, the kimono and the arrows sticking out of him. Kinemon created the arrows sticking out of Brook. So accessories and jewelry and even weaponry, he dresses Chopper up like a ninja and he has a sword. And actually, let's get back to that sword before I forget. When Big Mom washes ashore at Wano, Chopper is there, and he's super nervous because he's seen Big Mom before and he knows how dangerous she is. Chopper actually takes out the sword that Kinemon gave him, and with his ability, and was kind of holding it up to Big Mom, am I gonna have to stab her? Kind of thing. And it's curious considering, how does this work? Maybe like as soon as Chopper let the sword go, it would vanish. I would assume the sword would have disappeared the second you took it out of the sheath. Or maybe Oda forgot that was generated by the Devil Fruit ability. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, if he's able to generate weaponry with it, that's kind of also a really big deal. Like, you know, if he was able to make swords, let's take like projectile weapons like guns off the table. Let's say he isn't able to make guns. But if he's able to make a sword and you could take out the sword and the sword is sharp, it's probably not going to be something super rare like a Wazamono, and it would probably vanish if maybe you dropped it. Still, if he's able to do that, he could make spears and naganatas and all sorts of like polearm weapons, swords, axes, you know, maces, you know, morning stars, anything like that. And he didn't do that for the raid on Onigashima. So right now, I'm assuming that was something that Oda just kind of forgot about. That would make a good SBS question, though. Can Kinemon make weapons with that ability? You know, or maybe, oh, it would be really funny if Oda did answer that, and it was like, oh yeah, no, he can't do that. That sword that Chopper used, that was like a prop weapon. It was made out of like tinfoil or something, right? But we see it's not just cloth, you know, which why like Garb-Garb fruit is probably a better translation than cloth, because we see him making things out of metal. So anyway, going back to my point from earlier, he is able to make accessories to a point, but even if he made like a gold ring or a diamond ring accessory, it's probably going to be more like costume jewelry, and also you could just like take it off to sell it, but then it would instantly go poof. So you can't really do it that way either. But my God, is it fashionable. It's so cool, right? Disguises. I mean, we've not only seen him generate clothing, but also like wigs and like fake mustaches and beards. That's how everybody got their disguises at Dressrosa. Also, I guess sunglasses. So he can make sunglasses, fake beards, wigs. He dresses up as Doflamingo for a little bit, running through the castle with the feathered boa and also the Doflamingo wig and everything like that. And the sunglasses too. I think he also perfectly mimics Doflamingo's sunglasses. So there's a lot of like liberty with this fruit. Like there's like what encompasses clothing or attire or a costume. He also makes those full body outfits for Luffy and everybody to escape the Colosseum, like the full body like suits of like a frog, and I think there was a koi fish and a cat, you know. So if you're a mascot or a furry, and this is also a great ability for you, there you go. You just full body, you know, mascot outfit whenever you want. There you go. So, yeah, I mean, like, in order to, like, infiltrate Onigashima and the castle at Dressrosa and everything, this fruit worked really, really well for that. An awakening of this, I guess you start your own department store. Kinemon had the ability that created the clothing outlet. Now he creates his entire department store, a superstore of the One Piece world, as it were. Or I guess he's just able to summon clothing on other people without, because he can already do that, but you need to have the leaf on it. Maybe it just removes the leaf restriction. Also, when he summoned the archway, I guess he needed one leaf to put it up there, because there was a symbol of a leaf at the top of the archway, but that kind of removes the main weakness. So the leaf thing is like, I don't think he really even needs to do that. Maybe it's just for aesthetic, I guess. Maybe he just like, because remember, Kinemon did not think it was he didn't know what devil fruits were. People of Wano were kind of isolated, so they assumed it was like sorcery or something. So the thing with the leaf might have been more of just his own thing, of like, you know, there was a tradition or a story about yokais or spirits or some sorcery in Wano where if you put a leaf on your head, I think that might be something related to the Tenuki or something like that, you can create clothing or magical powers. So when he got this ability, he ate the fruit. He didn't know it was a devil fruit. Maybe he assumed that's what it is, and so that's the way it works for him, but he doesn't really need to use that in order to activate it, right? Other than that, I mean, like, actually, a really badass way of doing an awakening with this is if it's a paramecia, he could just turn any object or structure into clothing. Like, to like, transmute a brick building into cloth. That's actually really powerful. That's really crazy. Or, I mean, like, you know, it's like, I'm going to transmute this building into wool, or I'm going to change it into metal, because metal seems to encompass it, right? If you get hit by something really hard and it knocks off part of your armor, it'll disappear, but, like, you're probably not going to be able to reattach the armor anyway. If you're wearing a helmet, the helmet, like a steel helmet, would have the properties to protect you. You get hit, it gets knocked off, it poofs. It's like, all right, well, it did its job. It protected you from getting killed. So there you go. You can't pick it up and put it back on again. But, like, honestly, I think it's pretty efficient, right? It was also kind of bugged me that he gave Brook and Chopper and Luffy and everybody the really cool samurai armor. And I think they wore parts of it during the raid on Onigashima, but most of the Straw Hats chose to not wear the badass samurai armor the entire raid. Maybe because it was a little bit encumbering to move around in, because he is still making clothing that has those properties. So, like, he can make you perfectly fitting, like, samurai armor, or even maybe, like, plate mail. Could he make, like, a whole, like a suit of armor, like medieval age, like a suit of armor to walk around with, like, a lance and the helmet and everything? But even if that's, like, perfectly fitted for your body type, it's still going to be really uncomfortable to move around in, and really heavy as well. So he can do it, but you're still limited by your own strength there and everything like that. But yeah, he can make shoes and socks and hats and gloves and accessories and weapons. What else could he make? Capes? You could do capes, although as Edna Mode said from The Incredibles, no capes. Capes are not smart. But let's see. How could Kinemon have taken down Kaido with his clothing fruit? Hold on a minute. Let's think about this for a second. You know, Kinemon was already able to disguise himself as Doflamingo, and some people actually bought it from a distance. They actually thought he looked like Doflamingo. So what if Kinemon snuck into Kaido's, like, manor dressed as Doflamingo, like, hey, they thought they captured me, but I actually got out. And then Kaido's like, oh, Joker. Oh, hey, there he goes. Hey, Joker, I thought you were in prison. It's good to see that you got out. All right, now let's begin our plan. And then that's when Kinemon, I don't know, buries Kaido in a pile of feathered boas or something. He'll never be able to get out. Okay, yeah, I know. Not a lot of combat capabilities. But still, being buried under a pile of fabric might slow somebody down. I don't know. You know, just like he can... Oh, wait, could he make... See, this is the thing where, like, because clothing is a human invention, right? Like, we created clothing, so it's kind of like we get to decide what it is. So, like, blankets, most people would say a blanket is not a piece of clothing, but if you think about it a certain way, let's say you use the ability, like, I want a really long flowing cape made of wool. I mean, one way to say it is, yeah, that's a cape, but as long as it stays strapped to your, your jacket or whatever, that's a blanket right there. There you go. You know what I mean? I guess it depends on your perspective, like the person's perspective of what clothing is, I suppose. Now, also, Kinemon was unfamiliar with a lot of the clothing of the outside world. He was like, oh, the men of Dressrosa wear suits, but women wear nothing at all, because Kinemon's kind of lecherous like that, right? So he was a little bit unfamiliar, but he seemed to make... he even said on Punk Hazard, he's like, I'm not super familiar with the clothing of the outside world, but I'll just make you something that seems warm for this Arctic snowy environment. And he did it, and it worked perfectly fine. So even though he wasn't, like, familiar with those kind of, like, winter jackets and everything like that, he was still able to make them perfectly fine. So, yeah. But just for the sheer versatility of it and the fact you never have to go clothing shopping again, you would have all the closet space to put other things in there because now you don't need to do anything. Yep, there it is. Great devil fruit. Magnificent. 5 out of 5. S-tier devil fruit. And probably, like, if I was going to list devil fruits that I would want to have in just ordinary life, let me ask you something. Let's say you have the Mera no Mi, so you can generate fireballs and turn into fire. I mean, sure, that might help you in your day-to-day life. Yeah, I guess. But unless you want to be a superhero and deal with that bullshit, that's not really going to help you all too much. Just use a lighter. This makes things so much easier. I'm going with the clothing fruit. 100%. Absolutely. Top-tier devil fruit. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. I got to go and clean all this up now. I have my own little, like, clothing section. All my hangers of all my outfits that I had over the years are in that corner. I'm like, and I never get a chance to wear all the outfits. I used to do more sketches and things back when I did the Bleach reviews, so maybe I should get back into that. But, like, man, I have all these outfits to wear. Might as well. Huh. All right, there's 2 Spooky sweater he got me. There's the 4th Hokage's outfit. Shujin uniform. I've worn some of these at conventions before, but I don't typically cosplay when I go to conventions. I kind of just like to be comfortable just walking around so much, but maybe I'll cosplay at the one coming up this year or something. Anyway, that's the video at this point. I'm rambling. Thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Teching 101 signing out. Let me know down below why you know the clothing devil fruit is the best devil fruit. Later, everybody.